What's up guys, this is my review of LIX Pickleball's thermoformed carbon fiber paddle, the CG-3. I was excited for this review because this could potentially be one of the best looking paddles that's thermoformed in carbon fiber, and I wanted to see if it could not only look good, but play good. The paddle's got some unique features, including the grip that they put on the handle, as well as the unique edge guard that they put over the top. So in this video, I'll get into some of the specs of the paddle, including manufacturing process, materials, price, and whatnot. Then I'll get into some investigation of some of the micro details and unique features of this paddle. We'll discuss playability, pros and cons of how I think the paddle plays, and then I'm going to tell you who I think would like this paddle and who I think might not necessarily like this paddle. Let's do some quick stats. The LIX CG-3 paddle is made of T700 carbon fiber material, has unibody construction. The paddle face measures 16.5 by 7.5 inches and a handle that measures 5.5 inches long. The face thickness is 16 millimeters and has EVA foam injection throughout the edge of the paddle face and down through the handle. It's thermoformed and edgeless and is USAPA approved. They give a weight range with the paddle, ranging from 8.3 to 8.7 ounces with an average weight of 8.4 ounces. They have the base price listed at $170 on the website, but right now the price for the blue version of the paddle that I have with that top edge guard is $135, and the purple alligator version is $150. It's unclear to me what the price of these different paddles is going to be going forward, or if these are just part of a sale price. Either way, you can use the code Dustin15 to get $15 off whatever the list price is. And last but not least, these paddles are covered under a 90-day manufacturer defect warranty. It's outlined on the website. One of the first unique things that you see about this paddle is the grip that they put on the handle. You can see it kind of has these ridges that run up the handle in kind of that spiral pattern. I was a little skeptic of this at first, but when I put my hands on it and feel it, my fingers actually fit in between those grooves really well. It seems to resist my hand motion, so it doesn't slide up and down. And even when I played with it, it felt pretty good. I actually felt like they served their purpose, and my fingers didn't slide up and down the handle quite as well, even without an overgrip. And then when I did add an overgrip, it went on just fine, and I could still feel the grooves through the overgrip, which I thought was nice. I was curious to see what was underneath this grip. I wanted to investigate the handle further, so I went ahead and took this grip off so I could get a closer look. But I wasn't done there. Went ahead and got a screwdriver and liberated the insert off the handle of the paddle. And you can obviously see it's unibody construction. The blue color ends right there at the neck of the paddle, but it's just one piece going all the way down. And that includes the side of the handle there. You can see it's totally covered. There's no exposed polymer. Just one piece all the way down. And if you're wondering how durable this might be, I gave it my best shot, but yeah, this thing was not breaking. Another unique thing about this paddle, at least in the first run, is they have this little overgrip that they put on. It's got these plastic anchors to kind of create this permanent protection. The paddle is edgeless. I think the idea here is that they don't want you chipping or chopping this paddle, and they didn't want to put an edge guard around the whole thing just for the added weight. And one downside to this was through the manufacturing process and putting in these little plastic anchors, they couldn't get 100% of the debris and little particles and whatever out. So it's like this little rattling noise that's inside there. They posted right on their website about this, so they're pretty transparent, but it doesn't really have anything to do with the paddle breaking down or breaking further or whatever. It's just as they've added this overgrip, they just can't get all the little tiny particles out. And they actually do have a second version of the CG-3. This model is the alligator version, and instead of having that top edge guard, it's got the normal edge guard that goes all the way around the paddle. And after talking with the owner of LIX Pickleball, it sounds like they're going to be making more versions like this where they have the edge guard that goes all the way around and operate in more colors, and they might be making less of the versions with that top edge guard like in the one that I have here. And I was a little curious what would happen if the paddle and the edge guard took some direct hits, so I gave it some. I would think one of the worst drops you could have was just a straight vertical drop onto hard concrete. So I dropped it straight down, I dropped it flat, then I dropped it another one straight down onto the head, onto this concrete floor. And honestly, I was a little surprised, and pleasantly so, that after I dropped it, I didn't notice any differences in the paddle or the edge guard. I pulled on it, moved it around, shook it around. I didn't notice any new weak points or any new noises, anything like that. And since it is edgeless, like a lot of edgeless paddles, they do recommend you add some sort of like tape or edge guard protection or whatever around the edge. I actually added some white electrical tape to the edge of mine. It's cheap, it's relatively lightweight, and take it on and off easy. The paddle surface is T700 carbon fiber material, but they've added this composite adhesive material on the face of it. I'm always just a little bit weary when paddles have like a grit that's added to the surface, because of course when something's added to the surface, it's a matter of time before it wears down. And I think the question is, how long is it going to last? And when it wears down, how much of an impact does this have on the playability of the paddle? So I plan to get a few weeks of playing under my belt, and then I'll comment on what I feel like the changes are and if it's maintained its playability. When talking about how the paddle feels, I describe it as being hard to the touch, but soft to the hit, if that makes sense. When you break this thing out of the package and you put your hand on the face, it feels like a stiffer paddle, but when you hit it, it feels kind of more on the soft end. This made hitting drops and dinks really nice and effortless. It almost feels kind of like the paddle absorbs the ball a little bit, giving you some more room for error. And I found it was a nice paddle to work through the transition zone with. I overhit the ball probably less than I usually do, and resetting balls felt great. I was able to get back into a lot of points I was on the downhill of without popping the ball up too badly. I felt like the spin I could get was good but not outstanding. It definitely got the job done, but it wasn't quite at the level of say like the Mach 1 Forza or the Legacy Pro. I could still hit my drives and my rolls well, but I wasn't going to see any miracles. I would say in terms of spin on thermoform paddles, it's probably middle of the road. In terms of power, I definitely put this paddle more on the control side of the power control spectrum. I didn't think it was powerful enough for me when I first started hitting with it. So I ended up adding some lead tape down at kind of the base area of the paddle face, and I put it there so I could increase power without adding much to the head weight. I felt like this was definitely helpful and made the power a bit more adequate. So after having played with it for a few weeks, I have noticed the grid is starting to wear down a bit in the center, and there's some tiny nicks. I'll see if I can add a zoom up picture to the video after this. I can't say that I've felt a ton of difference in the playability and its like ability to impart spin and stuff like that at this point. It's always kind of had that like almost composite feel to it. Feels a little bit less like the fibery raw carbon fiber paddles and more on like on the soft to like firm spectrum, more on that firm side. So I don't think it's changed a ton, but like you'd imagine with any paddle with like a gritty surface, the grit's wearing down a little bit. So who's going to like the CG-3? Well, I think if looks are important to you, I think they've nailed a really cool look here. I think the color pops. It's a really unique design. In fact, most of the paddles that I've seen from LIX actually look pretty cool. If you like to play more consistently, you feel like a slower game, you appreciate good control on your dinks and your resets, I think this paddle will probably fit you pretty well. In my opinion, I think players who like paddles with a lot of power are probably going to appreciate the CG-3 a bit less. I added the lead tape and that helped quite a bit, but I still don't think it brought it into kind of that upper tier of power paddles, especially for thermoform paddles. So in summary, I think this is a good paddle with a really great look. Family owned and operated company. The paddle itself seems really durable, and it's actually kind of refreshing to be able to hit some good control shots here and there. I think that perhaps at $170 it may be a touch on the high side, but even with the small discount codes that are available, it puts it into a really fair price range in my opinion. And if you're ever able to stack those codes with any sort of other deals that they have going on, then you're going to get a screaming deal. But if you've played with this paddle or you're going to play with this paddle, let me know what you think. Tell me what you liked and didn't like about the video, what you agree with, what you don't agree with. And like always, if you want to see more, like and subscribe.